Is this being recorded? We need to record this for people that are missing. Okay. Well, it's 11:06. I think we get started now.
All right.
I stop with the silly things because this is gonna be a recorded session for those that missed the class. Well, welcome everyone. Glad to see you guys again here. Today I thought we talk a little bit about. Oh, let me turn off the. Talk about seller objections. And in real estate, when you learn the skill of sales, we constantly talk about objection handling. I understand that is the term used worldwide, nationwide in our industry and in sales industry in general to refer to concerns that the customers may have. Because objection is such a, I don't know, ugly word. I don't know how you feel about that, but I do. I think it's an ugly word.
Mhm.
So if you look the definition, an act of objecting, a reason or argument presented in opposition, a feeling or expression of disapproval. So every time you hear objection, the first thing that comes to mind is opposition, argument, disapproval. It's like a battle. And the moment you think of that, this what comes to mind. When you're faced with something opposing your thoughts, we lose the cool. We start getting nervous, defensive, flustered. So the science shows in a typical sales conversation, we typically speak at 170 words per minute. A flustered rookie sales rep, while handling objection, will increase their cadence to 190 words per minute. I think you have experienced yourself. When you get nervous, you tend to speak a little faster. When you get defensive, you tend to speak a little faster because you feel threatened and you must take action now to save your life. And when you behave like that in front of a client, you lose your cool, you're done. Now, a really good top performing rep while handling objection doesn't speak that much faster than his or her usual speech speed. And I know people say mirror and match. If the client speaks fast, you speak fast. I don't know. I tend to disagree with that. You just keep the cool because you want to maintain composure and control the conversation. So in general, calm behavior gives sensation of authority. Unsuccessful reps often interrupt the customer when handling objections. Have you seen that happen? Speaking over other people, they pounce on sales objections, getting all like, you know, flustered and worked up. So they speak faster as if handling objections makes them nervous. They feel threatened. So if you maintain a calm demeanor in the middle of this, you build trust with your customer. I believe this is the most important part in being a salesperson and a successful salesperson. Keep it cool. Keep it calm. Seriously, without this part mastered, nothing can help you. um, Hold on, let me turn off this other thing here. I'm getting notifications that are making noise. So the objection handling in general. So before we talk about your typical seller objection, let's take a look at the science and the structure of typical objection handling. Um, these are the 7 components that are typically taught in handling objections in general. So one is pause, speak with calm and authority. Second part is, according to the data, successful people always use a question to handle the objections. Start objection handling with a question. 60% of the time, the top performers respond to an objection with a question, whereas the average sales rep typically use the question 20% of the time. Here's what happens. The rookie or average sales reps, or realtors in our case, they handle, this is how they handle. When the objection pops, they react with a knee-jerk monologue. What I mean by that is the customer voices a valid concern, and the sales rep spends the next minute or two steamrolling, like rambling. Now, not only do they often address the wrong issue, but they're talking about stuff that don't matter, and you're just showing how insecure you are. It's about insecurity, really. And then starting with the question doesn't mean why. Why is the most childish question. You know those little kids, they always ask why. You don't want to be that kid. So don't ask why. When you ask why, it's actually a threatening question that questions the validity of the buyer's objection or the seller's objection. It puts your client on the defense. So how about a question like this? Can you help me understand what's causing that concern? Can you help me understand? That's the way I like asking. Instead of why. Why? Hey, can you discount your commission? You don't ask why. Well, can you help me understand what's causing that issue? And then let them talk. And so again, you ask a question and then you shut up, or they'll let the client do the talking. Next one is 3, validate before objection handling. So validate. Okay, here's one that I think we can use everywhere else in life, not just while handling objection. Validation. Humans go through about 95% of their living feeling misunderstood. And if you're a person who understands them, you carry powerful influence, right? Understood is giving the client the gift of feeling understood is the key. Have you also heard the greatest gift you could give anyone is acknowledging their existence? It's understanding what people's feelings are. When you do that, when a client says something and gives you it throws back something at you, this is one of the things that you have to do. You have to understand. And of course, you pause and you're listening with care. You ask a question, not why, but help me understand what's your concern, why this is a concern. You're acknowledging. There's a solution selling method, something called the solution selling method. I don't know who came up with this, but what it says is it dedicates 3 out of its 9 types of questions to summarizing confirmation questions. That's how important it is to confirm. So if you get this part, we're kind of halfway there now. When you acknowledge and understands, it might be the first time in your client's life that they felt truly understood. That's how rare this, phenomena is. So here's a phrase that makes it happen. Wow, that's a valid concern. So for example, let's say you suggest a list price of $1.7 million and the seller thinks the property is worth 2 million. They say, no, I want to list it at 2 million. Say, wow, that's a valid concern. I mean, and then you ask, well, help me understand what's making you think like that. It's like, well, if we put it too low, then what if that's the only offer we get, blah, blah, blah. And then here's what you say. That's a valid concern. It seems like you're afraid of few offers, or you put an emotion into, like, that's a valid concern. It seems like you are blank. It's an emotional, feeling, right? So that's that step. Once you figure out what that is, the next one, isolate the sales objection. Isolate the objection. See, some objections are not really the real objections. They're just telling you what you want to hear. So if this is how you isolate, if we somehow figure out how to solve this problem, what other obstacles will we have before, would we have to overcome before moving forward? So it's like, if you've taken bold, one of the questions is, so aside from list price, is there any other concerns that you have? And then the client is going to be like, well, there's that, and the timing of, like, when do I have to move? So you see, if there are other concerns that they voice, these other concerns might actually be the real objection. The initial objection is like, I don't think this is the time to sell, or like, I'm too busy right now. I have so much in my plate. Work is busy. I can't pack. Maybe that's their objection, right? And then you say, well, if we could somehow figure out and work out a timing other than that, is there any other obstacles that would keep us from moving forward, right? And if they say, no, that's the only issue, so okay, then you devise a game plan, and then they'll sign the contract. If they say, well, there's that, and then there's some other issues, right? I'm just saying that the second issue or third issue they bring to the table might actually be the real cause of them not moving forward. Okay, this is just how you figure people out. Next step, get permission to address the objection. First, I thought, yeah, what do you mean get permission? Just have a conversation. So this is how crucial this is also. Your goal, see, this step is the sales process to neutralize your buyer's mind, your client's mind. Your client may be in a state of mind that is way here or way there. When you get permission, you are neutralizing that. Your goal is to make them receptive to a different way of thinking. That's all. Without this step, you trigger resistance. You can have every objection handling skill, but if you leave this one out, good luck. So here's what not to say. Can I make a suggestion? Those questions, like, can I make a suggestion? So instead, we got to learn how to ask questions, better package questions. Can I bounce a few thoughts off you? Can I, It's making them feel more important and make it so that they don't go on the defense. So this question neutralizes your buyer's or seller's mind. It implies that you are the vulnerable one, not your client. Um, handle the objection with a reframe. So here's what I mean by reframe. Frame it such that a problem can be reframed as an opportunity, a weakness that can be reframed as a strength, and poor timing can be reframed as perfect timing. Examples are, I don't like this property because it's in the rent control area. Or, that's a common one. I don't want to rent a property that is in rent control, that because I'll have difficult time. So that's a problem. You can easily make it into an opportunity by saying something like, well, I completely understand your concern. Realize that most rental property owners, they own a lot of them in rent control area. And as long as you keep raising their rent yearly, the allowed 3 to 5%, there's no problem. And actually, because many people, investors, don't want to take the risk because they don't know enough about rent control, this is your opportunity to tap into that market. And these are things that I say very often. You make money oftentimes when others don't see the opportunity and only you do. Okay. If you want to get everything in an investor market, if you do what everyone else is doing, maybe mediocre return. Make sense? It is hard, right? So this is really like, there's a lot of practice needed, but we're just getting to the format of how to handle objections. Okay. Next one is what is this? Finish. So once you do the reframing is the meat and potato of the objection handling. Everything else is a prep. You're prepping the client's mind. Wait, where's my pointer? I thought I got a pointer. So all of these, you're prepping the mind and setting the stage. The reframe technique is the actual objection handling. And then you finish, once you feel that is accomplished, you finish it with, what part of your concern do you feel is still left unaddressed? What part of your concern do you feel is still left unattended? So you don't want to ask things like, does that solve the problem? Does that resolve your concern? Because that's kind of like a strong question, and they may say yes when they're not really ready. And they'll kill the deal later. That's about it. Any question or comments about these guys? Pause, speak with calm authority.
I can tell you that what you've said in large part is the exact opposite of what I've been doing, which would explain my lack of success.
I mean, just looking at this, can you think of, from your experience, past previous challenges or objections you've had from your clients?
Yes, I can think of a lot, but the main one that comes to mind that I'm likely to get right now is I want to, I haven't talked yet with my co-sellers, or we need to get more information from other realtors, that sort of thing. And to me, it's a really valid concern. They ought to be talking to other realtors. So it's hard for me to say, well, what could I do to make you sign on the dotted line here and now?
Yeah, so let's think about that. That's actually a very common, that's not an objection. I call that as a, they don't trust you fully. Let's go to a car dealer, for example, and let's say I like the car and I'm gonna buy this car. Once you made up that mind, there's no, well, let me think about it. Let me talk to my wife. Nah, nah. No, if you want it and you're ready to do it, you're gonna buy it. So if I tell the salesperson, and my salesperson is gonna ask me, Mr. Chung, how did you like it? Doesn't it drive like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, let me think about it. Right? That's the answer I'm gonna give. Where in reality is, I'm not so sure about this car. Maybe I like the other car better. So I'm gonna go to the other dealership. You know what? And probably if that is the thought, this car is not for me. I don't know. In a house, when you see a car, a house that you want to buy, or you're hiring an agent to list your property. Let's say, um, Jill, for example, she comes to my house, and she comes and let's say I already knew Jill. She's the agent that farms my neighborhood. I have, her magnets all over my fridge, and I was already kind of thinking of listing with Jill. I just needed to some clarification on timing. What should I do to the property? How long do you think you'll take? How much do you think the house is worth? How much do you think I'll net? These are just numbers that I want to know. These are not objections. So one scenario would be, I already have that set. I'm going to list with Jill. So I called Jill and say, hey, Jill, I know you come to, drop off things here and there. But I know you do a lot of the open houses here. It seems like you know the area. I'm thinking of moving, but I have some questions. Can you come over and help me out? So Jill goes to the appointment. I open the door, come on in. She takes a tour. And I'm going to be right away. Okay, what do I need to do to the house? How long do you need to get this in escrow? How long before I start packing? Moving is a lot of stress. The moving truck, the utility, and all that stuff is going through my mind as a seller. And I want my agent to get rid of all the insecurity and the unknown. I just want to be sure of what to predict in the next 30, 60 days. All the things I'm asking is, oh, by the way, how much commission do you charge? 6%. Okay. What do you think the list price should be? 1.7 million. Okay. Do you think 30 days, 60 days? It's like, well, get it ready, take photos, put it on the market, 7 days, put it in escrow, 30-day escrow. About 50, 35, 50, 40, 40, 40 to 50 days. Best case scenario. So now I have no more doubts. But then if you're going with the attitude or the thought of every one of these concerns that I addressed as objection, and you start being flustered and you start speaking fast, right? Let me think about it. You see, throughout this whole conversation, I never told Jill I'm going to think about it. Let me talk to my wife or anything like that. I just wanted to know the details. I'm ready to sign. Okay. Now, when you go, now let's say, on the other hand, Jill comes and I'm like, I'm not ready to sell. By the way, I don't even know where I'm going. Okay, I just want to waste people's time. Okay, but I can tell Jill that, I just want to see what my house is worth. And then when she says, okay, so it seems like all the questions are answered, let's sign the contract. And I say, yeah, well, thanks for the info. I need to check some other realtors, talk to my wife. Da, 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 da. Reality is either I'm not ready to sell, or two, I really don't trust fully the agent. Okay, so don't, whenever I hear, let me think about it, I actually go for the throat. And it's like almost like, okay, if I get it signed, awesome. If I don't get it signed, I, in my mind, I just don't care anymore. It's like, it's not my listing to have. Okay. I kind of think that way. So here's what happens. Actually, somebody role play with me. Who wants to role play, be the seller that is not ready to sell?
Michelle.
Michelle, you play the seller that is not ready to sell. And you're going to tell me something like, let me think about it, or I want to talk to my husband, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
All right. So Michelle, seems like we both agree on the list price and the timing is perfect. I think we're ready to sign the contract. Here's the
Wait.
contract.
You want me to be this? I'm the seller.
Yeah, you're the seller.
Okay. Well, I'm just not ready. I really thank you so much for all your information. You seem like a really great guy, but I really want to speak to my family a little bit more.
So you see, if she doesn't sign, because if I did everything if everything I did wins her over and she fully trusts me, she should be ready to sign it. But she's not signing it. Okay. At that point, I'm kind of thinking, okay, I blew it. You know what? Screw it. Okay, Michelle, you're telling me that you want to think about it some more, talk to your family. Totally get it. I understand. I think there's something I failed to do, is answer other questions or address other issues. What are the issues really? It's like, because I want to phrase it as, come on, look, you don't have to be nice to me. Like, just tell me excuses that you have to talk to your client, a family. Just tell me straight up, what is it that you didn't like? The way I dressed? It's like being able to phrase a question in a really direct way. And by the way, I'm asking direct questions because, look, our relationship throughout this whole transaction of listing your house and getting it sold is going to be very transparent and very straightforward, because I'm not here to waste any time. Yeah, answer me.
Well, to tell you the truth, I really like you and I think your presentation was great, but there's some other realtors that do a lot more marketing in this neighborhood.
Marketing in the neighborhood. Ooh, tell me more about that. What do you mean by marketing in the neighborhood?
Well, I just feel that they're in my neighborhood a little bit more than I've seen your name, even though I like you very much. They're just in this neighborhood. I feel like they're a little bit more on the pulse of the market over here.
Got it. Yep. I mean, the market is hot. Because they market in your neighborhood. I market throughout Southern California overall, and I typically go where my clients call me. And by the way, if that is the case, I wonder why I'm the one sitting here potentially getting a contract signed and not the other agents.
Well, I actually did meet with them, and your commission's a little bit higher than theirs is, and they had a lot more marketing material, and their presentation was a little more modern than yours.
I didn't bring any presentation. So at this point, this comes up. Here's why this comes up. Throughout the initial conversation and throughout the entire presentation, I didn't do a good job of showing how much I care about Michelle's best interest. If I win her heart in proving that I am the agent that is going to fight tooth and nail for her best interest, none of this marketing stuff or commission would be an issue. That's what I believe. And if the client fails to see that, it's not on Michelle, it's actually on me. My job is to always prove to my client that I am the one that is going to best represent the client. That's how I like winning my clients. It's not like with, here's what I do for, I have apps, I have color flyers and, things like that. Anybody can do that. And I do, but that usually becomes a objection when I fail to show my value. When you go to, here's an example. And by the way, these are the typical objections that we hear, right? And we try to come up with clever ways of answering these or addressing these. Well, good luck. Even if you say, oh, I'll do better. Okay, I can do better than them. Well, in Michelle's mind, it's probably like, well, too late. Right? So that is not the real concern. The thing is like, if I go to a Toyota dealership and a Honda dealership, I'm driving a Camry and comparing to a Honda Accord. They're all about the same. And the reasoning for me would be like, well, this one has a sunroof, that one doesn't have a sunroof. Oh, this one, the sunroof is a little bigger than the other one. Oh, therefore this is better. No, maybe I never liked the Toyota. Maybe I've always wanted a Honda. Who knows? That might be the deal breaker. So no matter how much the Toyota guy says, well, we'll put a real custom sunroof, much like double the size of the one from the Honda, that still won't do, So you have to realize what is it that the client wants at an early stage. So ask questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So objection handling, if you take, there's a course called NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, NLP. And all they do is tap into the client's deep brain cells. Like, what are they thinking? What do they want? What is causing them to hit the brakes and give, the defense? And you have to find what that really is. And typically, for a lot of people, the sellers, the commission, the marketing, the area, how many years of experience, all of that kind of stuff. These are the checklist items. The real reason is somewhere else. I held an open house in Torrance 6 years ago, a while back. That was an area farmed heavily by one of the top agents in the neighborhood. I had my for sale open house sign, and that agent is from my office. So it was the same Keller Williams South Bay sign, like kind of red. And one of the visitors came in. He's like, hey, are you in the same office as Ray and John? I was like, yeah, they're great agents. They're in my office. And then this old lady says, I can't stand them. They're so annoying. They keep dropping off the stupid pumpkin pie every Thanksgiving. I hate pumpkin pie. So They're everywhere. They have listings all the time in the neighborhood, but there's always someone that can't stand it. Okay, what are they gonna do to win her? They can't. She just hates them. No matter what they do, they'll never get their listing. And she listed 2 of her properties with me, someone that doesn't farm the neighborhood. So based on that, I really don't think for most of the times that being the dominating agent in the neighborhood is what it takes. You know, the other one I took a listing, it was in Fullerton. You know where Fullerton is?
Yeah.
Orange County. I'm sitting with the seller at the kitchen table, and on the fridge door, this fridge door is covered by magnets. All the other agents' magnets.
Boy,
And the seller is signing a listing agreement. And all I'm thinking is like, I'm just laughing. All these agents spending so much money in the damn magnets, and they're not here taking the listing. Okay. Now I'm sure they're getting other listings in the neighborhood. Okay. The point I'm trying to make is there's always room for you as long as you show how much you care about your client. And if you start there, the number of objection will drop actually to and become just questions. Okay.
if you start where? I missed that.
If you start with that, like how much you care and you earn their trust. Okay. And it's a tough one. Like, for example, I'm holding an open house. Let's say I'm holding an open house and a total stranger walks in. I have just a few minutes while they're touring the house to strike a conversation and somewhat earn their trust, somewhat. And my usual questions are geared towards finding out what's their current frustration. Okay, so here's an example for the visitor walks in. I don't ask if they have a buyer, an agent, or pre-approved or anything like that, because that's what everyone does. Every agent asks, are you pre-approved? Are you working with an agent? I never asked that. I ask things like, have you been writing offers? Because I know in today's market, people, if they are writing offers and serious buyers, they're writing offers. And by the way, if they are writing offers, they'll probably have an agent, most likely. If they're writing offers and still visiting my open house, it's because they haven't gotten anything accepted. Okay. And so this question finds out their level of seriousness. They're writing offers. These offers are not getting accepted, so they're frustrated. And so I really go for the throat. I was like, so you've been writing offers? Yeah, it's so crazy. Oh my God, it's bidding war everywhere, multiple offers. We don't even know. I mean, yeah. I'm like, really? Do you remember an address of a property you wrote an offer on recently? And they tell me, like, 4456 Becker Road. And I'm like, oh, I know that house. Yep, I wrote an offer for my client. We didn't get accepted. Yep, I know, it's frustrating. So I agree with them, right? And then I say, Michelle was the listing agent. She's a good friend of mine. And when I was to write an offer, I called Michelle and I asked, hey, Michelle, my buyer wants your listing. How many offers do you have? What do we got to do? And Michelle's so kind enough to tell me, it's listed at 750, but we got offers at like 820, so you got to come that much at least to be competitive. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks, Michelle. So I told my buyers, which were pre-approved, but their max budget was 800. As much as they wanted the house and as much as I provided the information for them to actually get it, they just could not do it. They didn't have the money. So yeah, it's frustrating. And then this couple, they're like, they look at each other and they're like, oh my God, we're working with the wrong agent, because their agent never told them this. Their agent always said, Well, give your best shot. There are 12 offers already. What do you mean best shot? 10,000 over list price, 20,000, 40,000 above list price. They don't know. And so little conversations like this is what, 2, 3 minutes? In 2, 3 minutes, I've established a level of value that I can provide. But I can only do this when I find out where they're feeling pain. Okay, their offers are not getting accepted. They're tired of it. You have to find out that. So every time you hear an objection or a question, you ask more, find out what's causing pain.
Mhm.
Then you get more money. So, oops, let's delete. I didn't know that stayed. Clear annotation. Disable annotation, hide. Whatever, just leave it there. So, what are some real, like, reality objections that you have right now or concerns that we can, talk about?
I have one.
Yes.
Sorry, my camera is broken, so I can't really.
Hi, Jill.
Hello, hello. So I'm a new agent, and as you know, tomorrow I have a listing appointment. And what if they ask how long I've been doing this and how many houses I've sold, or how I've had nothing, big old zero? So how do I handle that?
If you showed up with confidence and you delivered your message and asked questions with confidence, I guarantee you they'll never ask you. Actually, this class should be called How to Avoid Objection, not Objection Handling. Objection handling is really difficult. They already have their mindset. Okay. But Joe, yes, that is a question, a real question, and I've been asked that before. I just say, I don't know. I've been doing this for a while, as much as I can remember. I mean, I've been an investor for real estate. I bought and sold many properties. By the way, my first house, I got married in 1993. Yeah, I've been in real estate since then. Bought a few condos, flipped them. My God, it's been a while. Oh, now you're making me feel old. That's how I would answer. I don't know. And there are ways of saying something like, "Oh yeah, my office sold 560 homes last year. We dominate the market. And why is that why? Help me understand what the concern is about how long I've been doing this. And I'm guessing you want experience. Actually, any of you golfers? Anybody golf here?
No.
No?
My families are golfers, but not I.
So you are surrounded by golfers.
Yes.
And without you being a golfer, I think you understand golfing is a very humbling sport.
Yes.
It's a very hard sport.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, so Sherry, how long have some of your relatives been playing golf?
All their lives.
All their lives, yeah. And I think they still suck at it, right?
Oh, they could always be better, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing something. I've been making sandwiches and cooking my entire life. I still suck at it. Well, I don't, but a lot of people do. And so I don't know. It's a ballsy thing to say, but it's like, how long you been doing this? And then
That's a really
the
good one.
answer could be something like with a question. Well, I see you have golf clubs in your garage. How long you been golfing? Oh yeah, since I was in college. It's like, awesome. You must be really good at it. Okay.
That's beautiful.
Right. There are many different ways of, and then it suddenly becomes like a non-issue. It's like, yeah, you're right. I agree. And by the way, when you're talking to your clients, never say you're right. Always say, replace it with, I agree. I agree. If I say, Sherry, you're so right. You're absolutely right. In your mind, somewhere, Sherry, in your subconscious, you're thinking, yes, I'm right. Therefore, you're wrong. Okay, so if I agree, Sherry, I totally agree, 100%. Oh my God, like that. Yeah, we're in this together.
I have a question.
Mhm.
First of all, I want to say to Jill that everybody has their first listing. And one of my first listings was like that. It was a lady in Westchester, and I didn't even really know Westchester, and I sat on an open house for somebody. And then I always stay at my open houses longer than I need to. And one of the neighbors came in at the very end, a very old lady, and she hated this top realtor in Westchester. And I went on the listing appointment and I got it. In fact, I ended up getting a few listings out of it because a bunch of the people who came to the open house I knew from being in banking. And so I ended up getting 3 listings out of her listing. So I ended up getting 4 listings and I was a brand new agent. So this was a long time ago. But yeah, and I didn't even want to go on the listing appointment. So you never know. You never know.
And I
But
have something to
Thank
throw
you
in
for
too.
that. So,
yeah. I mean, so always just think positive and stay longer at your open houses, I would recommend, because then the neighbors come in. But number 2, I wanted to ask you, Ho, you mentioned that sometimes you go for the jugular a little bit. So one of the things they used to say when I worked at Wells Fargo was, and I don't know if you agree with this, but they would say at the very end, if somebody didn't sign on, I was a loan officer then, they would say, what's it going to take you to do this?
Mm.
Do you agree with that? Because you kind of mentioned a little bit ago that you kind of go for the throat. So
Yeah, it's gone. I feel like it's gone. I could just tell them to pound sand. Might as well. So at that point, it's like, well, seems like there's still something lingering that is making you uncomfortable about signing the contract right now. What's it going to take? Sure. Why not? You don't have that listing at that point. Might as well ask. Well, you know what? Since you're candid with me, I'll tell you. If you do it for 4%, I'll sign it right now. Maybe it'll be that. Who knows?
okay.
So who knows? By
I
the
had
way,
a comment for Jill.
yeah, Sherry, go ahead.
Jill, do you have any other relevant experience? Like, for instance, with me, I used to work in a law firm as a paralegal, real estate. So when I was a new agent, I could bring that in and say, it's true that I haven't been an agent for that long. However, I had all this other relevant experience that I have found really gave me unique qualifications, surprisingly. Anyway.
thank you, Sherry.
It was very good at things. Yeah.
Thank you. That's really helpful because actually, my husband owns a staffing agency, but it's in the real estate industry. So I guess I could weave that into the conversation. Like, because we've been in, our family business has been real estate for a long time. So, I mean, I can figure out how to weave that in. So Sherry, thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're making a funny face. You don't like that?
No, that's fine. And Joe, when you said you came off mute and said, I have a question. And the first words out of your mouth were, I'm a new agent. What's it going to take for you to stop saying that?
I know. I need to stop. I agree with you.
You're a fresh agent. Say you're a fresh agent.
No.
I'm just an agent. I'm a crusty old agent.
Jill is a listing machine.
There you go.
Okay.
Go, Jill.
Seriously, what you focus on expands. I've taken some of my mentee agents to my listing appointments. And this one, she was like, okay, what do you usually tell them when they ask you what you do for marketing? What do you do when they ask for discounted commission? And they said, I don't. They're not going to ask me that. Stop it. Said, but what if they do? I say, okay, no, you're not coming with me on the appointment. I don't need this kind of negativity. You're not coming with me. I say, okay, I'll shut up. We go to the appointment. They never ask me the commission or and the entire conversation evolved around where are you gonna go once this house sells.
Yeah.
I need to know where you're going to go. I cannot list your house until I know where you're moving to. Where you're moving to? I don't know. Well, if you did know, where would it be? And then they do a little more thinking. Well, I work here, she works there, maybe this area. It's like, oh, pull out the laptop. Now the conversation is not about the listing. It's about where they're gonna go. Okay, that's how important they feel. Like I'm not an agent that just here sign the contract. Let me make some commission money. Once I sell, I don't give a hell. I don't give a wherever you move to. That's not who you are. If you're moving out of California, oh, where are you moving to? Houston? Houston? My God. Okay, what part of Houston? Oh, blah, blah. Okay, you know what? You're buying a house in Houston, right? I said, yes. Let me introduce you to Sherry. She's an agent, a great agent that I like and trust, and she works the Houston area. Make sure you get in touch with Sherry. Actually, I'll have her call you. It would be kind of scary to think that you go to Houston and you end up working with an agent that is so incompetent. And I'm like, I'll definitely lose sleep over this. No, you have to talk to Sherry. This is how you have to refer people. Actually, you should train your clients and past clients to train them on how to refer business to you. Just like I referred to Sherry as being like, oh no, you have to talk to Sherry. Okay. Your clients have to be telling their friends, oh, you think you're selling the house? Oh my God, no, stop everything. You gotta call Sherry.
That's great.
Well, you have to earn that right. Right? So you see, once you have that kind of stuff, pipeline, objections are almost non-existent. What else? Any other questions, comments? Oh, I would just end with this for Jill. Gary Keller, he started selling real estate when he was a young punk, like 20 or something. Drove his VW old Volkswagen Bug. And he went on a listing appointment. And the client was asking him, man, you're so young and so you probably new at this. Why should I hire you? And Gary's words were this. Well, Mr. Seller, this is why you should hire me. You should hire me because I'm a professional. Let me explain what I mean by professional. Professional is someone that knows what he knows as well as knows what he doesn't know. So if you ask me a question and I know the answer, you get the right answer. If you ask me something and I don't know the answer to, I'll go find out the right answer and I'll give you the correct answer. That's what professionals do. By the way, I don't care how much experience you have. Can you tell me you know everything about everything? And if you claim you are that knowledgeable, that doesn't sound like a professional to me. That's the script that Gary Keller used.
Wow.
I like it.
So not that it addresses anything, but you kind of like deliver it like that. And suddenly now this can't be an issue anymore because it's just, if the seller brings up any more issues, it's because they're being dicks. Right?
Yeah.
All right. It's 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime. What's for lunch?
This was great, Ho. Thank you so much. I really found it useful.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope you apply a lot of these not only when dealing with clients. I think every part of your life you could apply this kind of stuff. One last slide.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
So here's action plan. It's always an action plan. Practice. Get real good at staying calm. Don't lose your cool. Practice. You read these words. This word, unfuckwithability. Okay, nothing should mess with you. You should be in a state of mind where nothing bothers you. Okay, and then when you're dealing with clients, find their real problem. Okay.
Excellent. Excellent class.
And I love this slide always. I'm gonna have this every time. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Once you become better and better, things become easier. Duh. Okay. Have an awesome Friday. Happy Friday. Drink some champagne because you're opening an escrow this weekend on Monday. So you got to celebrate in advance. Cheers.
Cheers.
See you guys later.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ho.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate all of this.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.